Let's go now to the Curtin University's Dean of Global Future, Joe Siracusa. Joe, we're now into our third day of prisoner exchanges. How do you think it's all going?
Good morning, Pete. Well, look, you'd have to have a heart of stone not to be moved by the pictures you see. Really is quite staggering. Both the Palestinian prisoners and the Israeli prisoners, and now the American kid this morning. Look, I think we've reached a tipping point here. President Biden is under enormous pressure to move to a full-time ceasefire, both by his allies and by the American public. And Benjamin Netanyahu has got to decide whether to resume the war. He'd like to, but keep in mind, he's got 300,000 reservists in the field. This is a citizen army. These aren't professionals. These are people who can go so far and no further. And so the prime minister of Israel has to decide whether to turn Israel into a garrison state, because you're going to have to be on duty there. After 50 days, there are 40,000. There were 40,000 Hamas fighters, and only 2,000 have been killed in this period of time. So it's going to take a long time. And Pete, you got to keep in mind here, Netanyahu had a brother who was a hero at bringing hostages back. He was the leader of the raid on Entebbe that we rescued 100 Palestinians. I'm sorry, 100 Israelis who were hijacked by Palestinians in Athens. And President Biden was 37 years old when Jimmy Carter botched the Iranian hostage crisis in Tehran. So, they both have this at front of mind about how this hostage thing plays with their publics. So they have very difficult things ahead. But I'll tell you this, right now, in terms of what happens next, the ball is in Hamas's court. And that's really saying something, Pete.
Yeah, and look, everyone wants the hostages freed, no doubt about that. And that's how this is going to play out for the next few days. Whether or not this truce is extended, we shall see. Makes it difficult, though, to go back to full-time fighting after seeing all of this with hostages still being kept, right?
It's almost impossible. I mean, we saw the ferocity both of Hamas attack on Israeli civilians, and then we saw the Israeli response to that. And people they're looking for some kind of ramp here, to exit ramp, and the ceasefire looks like it's working. It's not perfect, but I think the American public and the European public and a lot of other people just don't have the stomach for what Netanyahu wants to do to finish this off.
I guess, though, if Hamas survives, though, I mean, if look, we just said we want all the hostages freed, but I mean, if this ceasefire continues, maybe permanently, Hamas survives.
Well, Pete, they're already the victor, because they went toe-to-toe with the Israeli Defense Forces, and they're still standing there. And the fact that they're calling a tune this morning tells everybody that they're going to be around a long time. Look, they are a cancer, and they're going to have to figure out some way to cut it out.
Yep. So yeah, that's right. I mean, if Hamas lingers, then this will just happen again. That's how it has been for the last little while, and how it will continue to be. Joe, thank you. We'll talk to you again soon.